Guess that's time again, because these are the top 5 NES and SNES clone systems on the Lincoln Williams Show. My name is Lincoln Williams, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 NES and SNES clone systems, basically. So these systems are not actually the real hardware. Though they may look like the real hardware, they're basically clones, basically. So, what we're going to be doing is rating the overall best clone system for these types of games, basically. So, let the countdown begin. Tired of blowing in your old cartridges and basically trying to replace your NES? Basically, trying to replace your NES and trying to get the pin connectors to work and trying to stop that, gosh dang it, that blinking power light. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. There's a very simple system that'll help you do that, and it's only for $20. That's right. Number 5 is the Retro Entertainment System. The Retro Entertainment System is a $20 clone, NES clone that will only play NES games. But if you have a pin adapter to play Famicom games, then you can actually do that. The NES, the RES, basically the Retro Entertainment System, only comes in white and yellow composite cables. So if you want to relive your NES days again, I would check out that system on YouTube. It's called the Retro Entertainment System. Check it out, all right, YouTubers. But it won't play Castlevania 3. It won't play very complicated chip games. I wonder if Dragon Warrior will work on that system, but I haven't checked. So, but anyways, that is number 5. Number 4. Number 4 is basically it's a Super Nintendo. It's not like the Super Nintendo, but it's based off of the Retro Duo Portable, but it's not. It's not based off of the Retro Duo Portable. Basically, this system is called the Superboy. The Superboy is a portable Super Nintendo. Basically, they literally copied the generic brand of a Super Nintendo controller, basically typically known as the dog bone controller. I like to call it the dog bone. And they added all the face buttons of a Super Nintendo controller, a D-pad like a Super Nintendo controller, a L and R like a Super Nintendo controller, but they put these positioned up here so the screen would be right here, basically, and the cartridges would go right up to the top. So it's a very cool design in a system. So that's what basically the Hyperkin Superboy is all about. And it goes to retail $76 for a Super Nintendo. So yeah, it's a kind of a ripoff, but I got another product for a cheap SNES and an NES system. So that's number 4, the Hyperkin Superboy. It'll play every single Super Nintendo game across the board, but except for games like Earthbound will have glitches inside of them, and there's a really complicated glitch to turn on Mario RPG if you're trying to get that game to work. Mario RPG has a very complicated process. Not a complicated process, but you just have to power the system on with a AC adapter to plug in Mario RPG and to get that thing to work. So make sure you have your AC adapter around, and that way you can get the game working again. Up next, number 3. Number 3 is is one of my very first systems that I reviewed on this channel. Number 3 is the Retro Duo. Standard Retro Duo. The Standard Retro Duo was overall the best SNES and NES clone of 2012 until another competitor came along with that. But I can get into the details of the clone. It's a very detailed clone that'll play NES games and SNES games. You can also add the Super Game Boy to the project if you really wanted to play your Game Boy games up on the TV, and the Super Retro Advanced adapter. So that's very cool. It could play every NES game and SNES game across the board, but there is a catch to the system. The 3.0 version has a little darker design on the NES side of things. Like it will like darken a little for it's like this one is lighter and this one is kind of a darker, so they have a little bit of brightness issues when you're playing these old games, but it's not all that bad. Basically, I like to call her a beginner's guide to retro gaming is the Retro Duo. So if you have your SNES and it's still running, then you probably won't need the Retro Duo. But if your SNES is dying or your NES is dying, then I would consider getting a Retro Duo. It's only like $54 online, basically. So the Retro Duo is a very good clone system in my opinion, but the thing that killed it is number 2, basically. Number 2. Yes. This has got to be one of the best portable Super Nintendos. The RDP, known as the Retro Duo Portable. The Retro Duo Portable is a portable Super Nintendo and a Nintendo clone that'll last you around 8 hours straight. That's right, you could be playing your Super Nintendo games, your Nintendo games, and your Game Boy games, and your Sega Genesis games on the go for 8 hours. For 8 hours. Not 8 hours straight, but yeah, that would give you a headache, a major headache after a while. But these games, it has a very clicky D-pad and very good face buttons, L&R triggers, headphone jack and your AV out and your volume, and your DC AC adapter charger plug-in, and your power button, and your controller port so you can plug in real Super Nintendo controllers into the unit. And that's really cool. And you can plug this up onto your TV as well, basically. And the only games that will not work on it, for the most part, it has run every single game that I threw at it except The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. That game will not work on here. But A Link to the Past and Link's Awakening beat the crap out of that game so badly. Because I love A Link to the Past and all its glory. So that is number 2. The only games that I could not get, that it can't run, is Castlevania 3. And to be honest, it's not the best sound audio that you get out of an NES clone that could be portable. Basically, like, for instance, you can plug this into the top, like so. Biggity bam, biggity boom. Plug in Metroid. Like so. and bam, you have a freaking tower over your face, and it's like a shield. Basically, it's like, oh gosh, please don't shoot me. Yeah, so that is basically the overall retro advanced adapter and its many other accessories. And I was very happy to report that the Super Game Boy works on the system during my review. So that is the overall Retro Duo Portable. It goes for $85 to $76 on Amazon. So if you want a portable Super Nintendo, then I highly suggest you pick this up, basically. All right. Number one. The number one clone system that I've loved throughout my retro gaming adventure, collecting all these cool retro games, it has to be the Retron 5. The Retron 5 has succeeded so many of my dreams of retro gaming, and it's just a blast to play on the system on your TV. HD graphics. Yes, you can play the RDP on your TV. That is the coolest thing about this system. But come on, the Hyperkin Retron 5 is worth every single of your purchase money. It has the best compatibility that I have seen out of any clone system that'll play all of my games. Yes, this did do it as well, but the Retron 5 has an overall, it has the original controller ports. Even though it has the SNES ports, you can still plug in your original Nintendo controllers, your Sega Genesis controllers, and stuff like that. And the game system is overall perfect in every single aspect of our gaming lives, because it helps us to relive those memories of Metroid, basically. So it's actually a mixed bag. And, I love playing, Super Mario All-Stars on the go, but if I wanted to play it in HD form, the Retron 5 is a very good option. And it's fulfilled so many of my goals and tasks in many different difficult games, like The Legend of Zelda, basically. The Legend of Zelda in the Water Temple. It's just extremely hard. Even though I beat it on the Retro Duo without any cheats, it was still a difficult task to do on the Retro Duo than on the Retron 5, because the Retron 5 has save states and cheat codes. If you have the time to get past all of your difficult games in life, basically. So that is the overall top 10 NES and SNES clone systems. I hope you really liked this episode, and let's do a recap, shall we? Number 5, the Retro Entertainment System, a $20 NES clone. Number 4, the Hyperkin Superboy, which is a portable SNES player, and it'll run every single game that you throw at it, and it'll last up to 3 hours. Only this one goes for 8 hours. So take your pick, 3 hours or 8 hours. It's just overall one of the best looking Super Nintendo clones I have seen on the internet. But number 4 is okay for you. But if you want to play your NES games and your Game Boy Advance games and your Sega Genesis games, but it will work surprisingly with the Super Game Boy, basically. So if you want to play Super Game Boy games on the Hyperkin Superboy, you can actually do that. The Retro Duo was one of my very first Super Nintendo and a Nintendo systems I've ever owned, basically, just to play all of these games. It was one of the very first systems that I've owned, but now I gave it to Christopher, and he's enjoying it even more with his Game Boy Advance game collection. So I'm very happy about that. But I think he's going to get a Retron 5 later in maybe the year if he wants to save up enough money for one, because he has problems with the overall cartridge itself, the Super Retro Advanced adapter. But anyways, number two is just a recap. The Retro Duo Portable. It's the best portable Super Nintendo like ever, basically. So it's the best portable Super Nintendo and a Nintendo clone if you want to play your NES games on the go, basically. So that is overall the Retro Duo Portable. It's very good. It's a very good system in my opinion, and I hope you get one. I hope you pick one up, because it's just, the overall. I just loved this when I played The Legend of Zelda last night. And I beat the Water Temple. It was so awesome when I finally beat the most difficult dungeon in the game, basically. Um, number one is the overall Retron 5, basically. It's just one of the best that you can ever get your money on a retro console, basically. The Retron 5 is just a dream come true, because it functions like, I have to say this out loud, it functions like a Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3, only you're using the original cartridges to play all these games by emulation processors and all that stuff. So, yeah, so anyways, that is my overall top 5 NES and SNES clone systems that you should buy. Anyways, if you're interested in any of these clone systems that you want to get up for your kid for Christmas, and if he wants to play his old Nintendo cartridges again, go with the go with the Retron 5 if you think you have enough money to purchase one and stuff like that. And basically, NES games will always be close to my heart because they are just treasure to me. So I just wouldn't throw these in the garbage because, they're games. They're valuable, basically, just because of their, history, background that's inside of them. And it's just overall, good to be collecting these games once again. I hope I get the rest of my games that are coming in the mail. Star Fox, the effects chip on the Retro Duo Portable, basically. I can't wait to be playing Star Fox, and I hope one of my store clerks finds the packages that were supposed to be here today. I'm terribly sorry, but I don't know where the packages are. But if I find them, I will promise to do another gameplay footage of F-Zero and Star Fox. You can count on that, and Castlevania Adventure for the Super Game Boy, basically. So that is the overall look of my top 5 NES and SNES clone systems. Thank you guys for watching this series on Season 6. This is the final episode of Season 6, and I'll see you guys all later. This has been a fantastic season for retro gaming in general, and I love talking about retro games on this channel. I just love talking about them, their statistics, and their overall background, their gameplay, how they function, and overall, it's just great. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time on the next Lincoln Williams Show.